everyone. Welcome back to Free Health Spotlight's YouTube channel. So today we're going to be talking about research, how to get involved with research at Pitt, and maybe even graduate school. So to help me out today, I brought a guest, Simone. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I am Simone Mohite. I am an international student from Dubai, and I'm majoring in neuroscience and minoring in chemistry, theater arts, and French studies.
Quite a variety. So you're from Dubai.
Mhm.
So what's it like being an international student at Pitt?
I think Pitt has been really nice. I think it's super easy to make friends. I don't ever really feel like a super disconnect. Like if I'm like
so
ever
good.
clueless
Yeah.
about anything, like there are always people just to help you and kind of make you feel like you're just
At home.
yeah, like you're at home.
So what made you choose Pitt?
Primarily it was research based.
Research.
Like obviously, like I could not tour schools or anything like that. So it was mostly research based. I also wanted to kind of have like that open campus.
Yeah.
Like
Definitely
Pitt has.
open campus.
Yeah, I didn't like understand too well like if it was the same vibe that I wanted to have, but I was really lucky when I got here and it was exactly like what I was looking for. So yeah.
Yeah, so you were always like you knew you wanted to do research before college?
Pretty much, yeah. I thought I was gonna be a neurosurgeon up until like the 10th grade. And then I was like, maybe not, because I'm not the best with like tests and stuff. No, I'm okay with like all of that kind of stuff, but I'm just like not the best with like multiple choice questions. I'm like
that would probably be hard to
that would probably be really hard. And also like I just realized that while I was in the 12th grade, I had this board project and I kind of like designed it start to finish. And then I was like, wait, like research is actually really cool. Like I wanna like be able to do my own projects or kind of work with like the different wet lab settings and like all of that, like experimental stuff. Like I just really thought that was really cool and I would enjoy doing that and like being in the lab. So yeah, that's kind of like what solidified research for me.
Yeah, so how did you come to neuroscience like as your specific research interest?
Right. So that probably is like props to my ninth grade teacher for biology. She really made me interested in like the human body and stuff. Like that's kind of how I got into physiology and biology because both my parents are engineers.
Oh, so not like what you talk about at dinner.
Not at all. Like yeah, like they don't have any clue about like I mean I don't even really have many doctors in my family. I would say they're more in like the tech business or like software and stuff. So I never really had too much neuroscience or any sort of like health related field growing up. But yeah, so like in the ninth grade, this teacher just kind of like inspired me to like learn more about the human body. And then that's kind of how I reached the brain and like nervous system. And I just kind of like read like books.
A lot of stuff.
And yeah, and then there's this YouTube channel called like Crash Course. I don't know.
Crash Course. I'm pretty sure everyone's pretty familiar with it as free health students. Yeah.
I love that. I love that little thing. I think I was like studying for one of my midterms or something in the 10th
Crash
grade.
Course is the way to go for midterms.
And it was so good. I was like, okay, like I can just like watch and like remember everything. But then it like went on shuffle and then like something about like neuroscience came up. And I was like, wait, like this is really cool.
It's actually fate. Oh my gosh.
It's actually fate. And then I was still kind of like, okay, like I know I want to do like biology. Maybe I can like apply as a bio major and then like see how it is and like that sort of stuff. But then no, like and then in the 12th grade, I was like, wait, I'm kind of like thinking about neuroscience a lot. So I should just do like that research project in something in neuroscience. And I was like, why not just like do like the whole neurodegeneration, oxidative stress stuff? Yeah. So my project was I think I just bought like strawberries and like different berries and checked the antioxidant levels in that and saw if when you cause oxidative stress in like a petri dish full of like bacteria, like would like berry infused agar plates and stuff like help them
that's
from dying.
really interesting.
Yeah, so I did that project and I don't think we got like super trustworthy results, but it's okay. You know what, character building, and it was just really fun to do it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like where I was like, okay, like I read so much literature on that.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I was just like, okay, like I think I really want to go into something with like neurodegeneration in particular. But yeah, neuroscience is probably just like crash course and like my teacher from ninth grade.
Well, that's like such an interesting way to stumble upon it. Like I know for myself, like I'm also a neuroscience major, as you know.
As I know.
Yeah, because we worked in the same lab over the summer. But I feel like for myself, it was kind of like more of like my family does have a lot of people who are like kind of STEM.
Right.
And but it was more like kind of like STEM, everything except neuroscience.
Right.
Like it was a lot of like cardiac and like other stuff. And I was like, why is no one talking about this? This is so much cooler, is what I thought at least.
So much cooler.
Yeah.
So that's what every neuroscience major says.
I know, we're just so much better than you. But so I know you also did some research in philosophy. So how does that differ from your research in neuroscience?
Right. So this was the COVID year. So I think pretty much. So I was looking for a class to fulfill my philosophy gen ed, and I saw this class being offered called Philosophy of Neuroscience, and I was like, of course, like I'm of course gonna take it. Like I want to know
neuroscience in the title.
I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be so fun, and I took that class, and the professor and I were really like we started like really vibing in class, like questions and like in general, like I would really look forward to just attending class, asking her different kind of questions. And she was also a neuroscientist before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was like a grad student at Pitt.
Oh,
so
cool.
She was very chill and like nice, and she just kind of like explained things to me like the way I would like actually understand. But she encouraged me to apply for this spring research position, which was kind of like archival research.
Yeah.
Which was like even cooler because we were like I was reading like letters and things like that from one philosopher to another philosopher, and like how
you were like digging through the archives.
I know, I was literally digging through the archives. I wish I could have done it in person because I would be like physically digging through archives, but this was like a virtual thing. So I just kind of had help with my archivist, and he just kind of like gave me the material that I wanted, but then I kind of asked for the material that I need. And then at the end, we kind of had like a write-up, and it was like an exhibition, which was oh my gosh, I'm like at a loss.
Were you like presented your?
It was like a virtual exhibition.
Oh.
So yeah, I had a presentation, but like it was just like a website that we posted on. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, but then I feel like with that research per se, it was very like I was just exploring things, you know.
Yeah.
Like I think like the semester is about 4 months, and I think for about 2 months I was just reading random stuff
because you know what you were looking for, really.
Because I didn't really know what I was looking for, and it wasn't I was like I picked my topic. So my topic was philosopher Carl Hempel's relationship with Chinese philosopher Tasha Hung.
Okay.
And they had a lot of stuff to do with like logical empiricism, which if you're not familiar with that, you might have heard about. Like,
I am.
That's okay. But it's basically just kind of like what is actually like the truth.
Oh, okay.
Like how do you like define something as like the truth? And like things like
that is very philosophical.
It is really. But so they were like from Austria, like the Vienna Circle, like if you've heard of that. So they were both present in like the Vienna Circle, and I feel like just like in my family, I like never heard of anyone going to like Vienna, like from that era, which was like 1950s, 1960s. Like I didn't have anyone, so I was like, oh, like why is like this philosopher from China like doing?
Why is he going?
Why is he in Austria, and like why is Carl Hempel now in like New Jersey or something?
New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah, and he like ended up there. I think he taught at Princeton. So I was just like, why is this happening? Like there like definitely is like more history to it and stuff like that. So I kind of just like followed whatever clue came in front of me, essentially. Yeah. But then with scientific research, that's not it.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of more risk involved, I think. Like with wet lab stuff, like you can't just be like, I'm just gonna order like some random kit and
Hope
like,
it works.
put some random sample in it and like hope it
Hope it
works.
works.
I mean, I guess I'm sure like sometimes you would do that if you're like absolutely clueless.
yeah.
But I think for like in general, I would say that my research was a bit more like hypothesis driven with science, but then with philosophy was just kind of like I'm gonna like take whatever I'm getting and like just see more stuff that I
Yeah.
can find basically.
Yeah, but I bet you could also like I feel like you've probably learned a lot of skills though in your philosophy research that like you can apply as
For sure,
a
yeah.
research person in your
I think the main thing is being okay with being clueless. Because I feel like
No, that's so valid.
like I'm the kind of person who like wants to know everything. Like if I'm like
Mhm.
making plans for the day or something like that. Like I want to know exactly what I'm doing
Yeah.
and like exactly what hour. So just being a person like that in research, not the best idea, but but no, for sure. Like I just got more comfortable with like okay, I don't know, or like I don't know what to do, but like what can I actually do next?
Yeah.
Like how do you like overcome like kind of like writer's block, like research block, I
Yeah.
would call it, where you really have like no idea what you're doing at that point, but then you just kind of need to know how to go forward. And I think that was a big thing with philosophy research, just because of like how directionless I was in the
Yeah.
starting. And then yeah, for me that was like the biggest lesson that I learned with philosophy research. And then also just kind of like using different I wouldn't call them like softwares, but more like extensions and stuff like Zotero to just kind of like have like easy citations and things like that. So I feel like that's just something that's like in research in general that I learned from my program. So I'm just using that now.
Yeah, I feel like it's really funny because I feel like a lot of people who are like researchers and are very research oriented want to know all the answers.
Yeah.
But then the caveat to that is that you in research like you don't know all the answers and it's basically impossible to get all the answers.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it's a little bit ironic and funny. But so you are pre-research.
Yeah, I'm not pre-med or anything. I
Yeah.
want to go straight into grad school,
Grad school.
and possibly into academia.
Mhm.
I say that as a possibly because I really like being a TA, but I like
You're a good
being
TA.
an undergraduate TA, like you don't really get feedback, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you don't actually have someone like overseeing like what exactly you're doing. So I feel like grad school is probably gonna be like the best
Like way to judge if you really
way to judge if I really want to do this. And like I'm obviously gonna have to do more work as a TA in that capacity. So I'm just I just really want to figure that out. Like hopefully grad school, but if not, like I definitely want to have like my own lab and just continue research with that.
Yeah. So I know you're also doing something called a BPhil.
I am.
So do you want to explain what that is? And then kind of like what you're trying to do in your BPhil?
For sure, yeah. So my freshman year, I took this class called Brain and Behavior, which is technically a gen ed, but I think I just took it because I was part of an academic community. And the professor, Dr. Stryker, he's like been my idol ever since freshman year. I still talk to him like all the time. Just want to check on him.
Love that.
But he was the one who was like, wait, so you're going into research. You should really consider this like different degree called the BPhil. And I'm like, wait, what's that? Because I've never heard of that. I think maybe like it's kind of available in like Cambridge, Oxford, like
yeah, it's not super common in America.
Not super common in America. I think there are like 52 institutions in America that offer it. So it's always a great like conversation starter. Like, oh, I gotta be some interviews or anything. Yeah, like because everyone's just like, wait, what's a BPhil? Like, never seen that. But essentially, it's a research oriented degree. So you have like the same sort of requirements for your major and your minors or whatever. That's like still stays the same. But then you're part of the honors college, so you have to fulfill like the honors OCC and any other like honors requirements with like I think your GPA and stuff. Other than that, you need to like the main point of the BPhil is that you need to write a thesis. And then you need to defend it. So it's more so like a master's degree is what I'm told.
Sounding like that.
Pretty much is, because you like write your own thesis and then you defend it, and then you kind of like, I think you have like a presentation due
Yeah.
that you have to give. But if you know what like an honors degree would be
Yeah.
like, so in that you just don't defend your thesis.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like you write something with your research and then go
And then,
ahead.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, do you kind of, well, I have a couple friends who are like interested in BPhils, but do you want to talk about like the process? You don't just like wake up one day and you're like, I'm gonna graduate with a
Most
BPhil.
definitely not. Okay, so I would say like it takes about 2 years, like start to finish. But I'm saying that with like starting for a person like who has no lab or anything.
Yeah.
So I would say if you're a sophomore, figure out like what lab you want to do it with.
Mhm.
I would also say like probably start working in the lab before you like declare your BPhil or whatever. I just think that that just kind of like solidifies your relationship with your mentor, which is really important because
Yeah.
you need like their letter of recommendation for this BPhil, and also that you learn the skills that you probably need for this
To conduct
the
the research.
and then you also kind of understand, I would say, which is more important than like just like what you want to show on paper, but like you also understand if you really want to do this.
Yeah.
Because it's not less work. Like writing a thesis is really hard.
Sounds actually like a lot of extra work.
It's a lot of extra work for sure. And like you need to know if you're willing to put that much aside and kind of like give your time for just research and I guess like spend the time in the lab and like if you're like fine with all of that. So it's kind of perfect for someone who's going into research because that's exactly
like
what your life
what
is going to look
research
like.
is.
Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely say like sophomore year, like if you're a sophomore or freshman, identify like what lab that you're looking for or what lab you're in.
Yeah.
And then start working on like some sort of thing in the lab. Like even if it's just like getting used to like the way to the lab, you know, like just getting used to like the people over there, like you're like comfortable enough, like, wait, like I don't really know this, like can you help me or things like that. Just kind of like settle in. And then I would say like as a junior, you would probably have an idea about like what your thesis would be. So then you have to write up a BPhil proposal and then you send that to the person in charge to get that approved. And then once you're approved, then you can like request funding for your research. Like
so fancy.
It helps out with a lot with like
I didn't
those
know
kind of projects. Yeah, no, it's really good. So yeah, so then once you get approved, then you can like request all of these things. So yeah, and then kind of just like start your project for real.
Yeah. So for people who maybe don't have a lab yet, do you have, because I know a lot of people are always like, oh, I want to do research, but then it's like, how do I get research? And I know, I mean, I can speak a little bit about this because when my freshman year was during COVID. And so I also was like, oh, I did research in high school. I want to keep doing it. But I was like, how? Because I was like, who's going to take me?
Yeah.
Because of COVID. But I feel like something that's important is just putting yourself out there, honestly. I feel like is the biggest advice I could give for anyone.
Cold emails.
Cold emailing
all your professors.
Asking professors, you know, do you know someone who's looking for an undergraduate? And even if you don't have experience, probably, they're very understanding.
Yeah.
And they're definitely willing to take you on and train you. I know, like, for myself, you can even look into like the graduate schools at Pitt. Like if you're going to dental school or med school, if you're interested in, you can find research they're doing and ask them if they want undergrads.
Yeah, I'm in the School of Medicine for research. So and I wasn't even at like Dietrich.
Yeah.
Maybe,
so I feel like just like reaching out is what I would say.
For sure.
Just like putting yourself out there and like sending your resumes.
Yeah. With neuroscience in particular, the graduate school of CNUP, it's not like the same as like Thesis. So they actually have like a directory of all the faculty. And I would say that's the best place to look at because you don't have to like look at all the faculty in Dietrich school and then like go to dental school and then go to School of Medicine or like rehab sciences because neuroscience is pretty much like everywhere.
Yeah.
So CNUP, the website is great as of what I've seen. It's pretty updated for the most part. So you can just kind of like go there, look at the faculty roster, and then kind of like research a bit more on like every faculty. And I think my best advice for emailing professors would just be like don't just be like, oh, I'm looking for a job. Look them up, maybe like
make some effort
to have some
ask a question. I found
ask a question is
always a good one.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm interested in like this paper you talked about. Like, could we have a quick meeting to like go
Yeah.
over this or something like that? And
Something like that, for sure.
yeah.
And also like firstly, like reading their latest papers is going to give you a good idea about like what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
So if like suppose you're a person who like doesn't want to work with rats, and then you can see like they have all of these like behavioral assessments,
And you're like,
like
oh.
you need to ask them that, like, am I going to be expected to work with rats, or can I
Yeah.
just do like wet lab stuff or like some computer stuff,
Analysis. Yeah.
analysis, or like data entry, or like really anything like that. Or so that's one way. Or like if you're particularly interested in like neurodegeneration, like I was, but then this lab is pretty much like imaging lab or something like that, which is
Yeah.
not really looking at that, then maybe like that's not the best fit for you.
Yeah.
But definitely you need to like check like research them before
Yeah.
you get on their research.
Yeah, and I feel like it's also okay to not like stay at the lab that
Oh,
you
yeah,
like.
for
I
sure.
don't think. I mean, for example, like I'm this lab that Simone and I were both how we met.
How we met.
We met. I'm not staying there because although I really, really enjoyed my time there and I love people, you, sure, the people and my PI, I just am not as interested in like the research there as I am in like my other labs.
Right.
And obviously it would be unfair, first of all, of me to just kind of work there if I'm not as passionate. And I just feel like it's just a better fit for me. So I feel like you don't have to just take whatever comes. Like obviously try it out, but it's okay to like stray from what you first thought your research was going to be or what it ended up being. Yeah.
I would, yeah, like, but that's definitely a thing. Like, don't stay in something where, like, for example, like if you want to do like a B film and you need that extra help with like, you know, like you need a mentor who's going to be able to like check your B film thesis and like edit stuff. And like, if you need like a grad student, like mentor you or whatever, like, you know, you obviously have some expectations. And you need to discuss that clearly, like probably during your interview, just like make sure like we're on the same page about everything.
By the way, I'm doing B film. I want to do B film.
Yeah. So yeah, like definitely like find a perfect fit. And I feel like with the labs at Pitt, like you're bound to
there's
find
so many
one
labs,
that's really
and
good.
I found all the faculty and labs are super welcoming, really understanding. I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And but like on the contrary, because I think like on the contrary, like don't feel bad about staying in one lab, because I felt bad for the longest time, because I was like, all of these people are like, oh, I worked in this lab and then I worked in that lab. And I'm like, I've just been working in one lab, and like I'm like, I feel like
you shouldn't feel bad about that.
I know, but like you kind of do, because it sounds like they're doing more research, you know?
Yeah, I can see.
But it really does not. And like
Yeah.
as someone who's applying to grad school, I've spoken to many of my professors about that. I'm like, listen, I've stayed in one lab. Like, does that like hurt you? Yeah, like does that like hurt my application by any chance? Because it doesn't seem like I've like seen enough or something. Like that's what I thought that it might mean.
Yeah.
But then they were like, no, like that just shows that you're really loyal and like committed to like you have that like potential to like be like stick to one thing, even if it's like maybe a bit slow at first or whatever, but then like as long as you're getting some like real research experience out of it, like that's what's more important.
Yeah.
And also like just in general, like common sense, like you're gonna know the people over there for more time.
Yeah.
So if you can stay in one lab for longer and you like it, like for sure,
like developing a relationship with your PI.
Yeah,
definitely. I feel like it's all about fit. So just like trying things out, putting yourself out there and emailing, I know can be kind of scary because you're like, you're emailing, you're like, I really hope this person takes me, and then they never email you back, but it's okay. You get rejected so many times when you email people and ask, they don't respond, and it's totally normal. But everyone will find something eventually.
Yeah, and I feel like even with CMU actually, like the CMU has CNBC with CMU, that's the Center for Neural Basis of Cognition, and I think that they are more on the side of like computational neuroscience and stuff. So I took a class, the Introduction to Computational Neuroscience in fall semester. So the professor was actually like a professor both at like CMU and
that's really cool.
Yeah, so because I feel like the grad school situation at Pitt and CMU are not super clear with neuroscience. So definitely just kind of like if you're like going for like PhD school or something, like just type like PhD Pittsburgh, and then you like probably end up finding like CNBC and CNUP because they're both not just Pitt. So if you're interested in more of like computational neuroscience or like machine learning or something like that's like neuroscience, but not on the biology side, like you could go there.
Yeah, that was really exciting. I didn't know that either.
I know. I feel like not many people know that unless
No,
you
I didn't do
like
that.
take that like
Yeah.
class and like you actually understand or something.
Yeah.
The TA for that class was really nice, and he
Oh,
was in the
really?
CNBC program for
Oh,
PhD.
that's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
so that's kind of how I found that out. But yeah.
Makes sense. Any last parting words of wisdom for pre-health students who might want to do research but aren't sure if they'll be good at it or if they're experienced enough, or should they go do med school or research?
I would say, as like someone who thought of doing both pretty seriously, just kind of really like let yourself feel both those feels. Like it sounds really like abstract, and I feel like maybe people are not getting what I'm saying, but like really just like force yourself, like go into a research lab and like see how it is, and like truly ask yourself, like, is this for you? Like despite like 7 failed experiments, like do you still want to go ahead? Because I like you know my week has been, I did 5 ELISAs and like none of them worked, but like finally something worked, and
Simone was so excited.
And I was so excited because I'm like, yay, data. But it's really hard. Like it really is a lot of failing until you get like one good thing, but then that one good thing really makes you feel like so happy, and it makes you
really
feel
rewarding,
so satisfied. Yeah, exactly. So if that kind of sounds like you, probably like do research. If that absolutely you're like just like ew, like what is this? Like I would never want to do this. I want something that's more like application based or like people interaction based, I guess you could say, like patient interaction based. Shadow some doctors or like work like volunteer at the hospital. I think there you can like be like, I mean, I guess you could be like a PCT after getting your degree or things like that, where you're actually really working in the hospital. If you like that better, probably like go on and do med school.
I think also a lot of PIs are like, a lot of them went to med school and they get their own lab. Like they're like, oh, I kind of want to do research now.
Yeah, or you could do like an MD PhD if that's something that you're looking at, where you just kind of like get your PhD on a project that is very like clinical. So it wouldn't really, like, I don't think MD PhDs take like exactly as long as like 8 years. You could probably do it in like 6 years. But like there are options like that if you're someone who like does both. But definitely just like let yourself like be in both those positions and feel like how you are feeling about your future in that field, and then kind of decide from there.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Simone, for being here and sharing all your knowledge. We hope this was really helpful for anyone interested in pursuing research, or just to clear up any like misconceptions about research at Pitt or anything like that. But so thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
And well, I was gonna say we'll see you. Like maybe we'll see you when you're in your own lab.
You might.
At Pitt.
You might. You know,
you might. But thanks so much, Simone.
Yeah, of course.